I bought all of the most hyped up clone fragrances on TikTok right now, so you don't have to. I'm going to start by reviewing arguably the most popular one right now. This is called AFNAN's 9pm. The reason it's so popular is because it's a dupe of Jean Paul Gaultier Ultramale, which is just obviously one of the biggest fragrances in the fragrance community. But this thing does such a good job of duping it, and you can get it for $20 US, or if you're in Australia, it's 75. But still, it smells fantastic, fruity, vanilla, sweet. It's a little bit fresher than Ultramale. I do own Ultramale, by the way. And Ultramale, it's a little bit more dense, a little bit more rich. After 9pm is a bit fresher. It lasts a couple hours less. I get 8 hours on my skin. Ultramale, I get closer to 10. And it also projects just a touch less. But it is close, man. Like on skin, it's 85%. But then in the air, you can't tell a difference. After 9pm, I'm going to give an 8.5 out of 10. This is one of the best dupes. This one deserves the hype it gets on TikTok, honestly. The next popular clone is Lattafa Khamrah. This one is getting a lot of hype right now. It's supposed to be a dupe of Angel Share, but it's technically not a dupe. It's inspired by Angel Share, but to my nose, it's maybe 50% similar. Let's give it a couple sprays here on my little piece of paper. It's good. It's very dense, very decadent. It smells like a warm and cozy apple pie. It's like you cuddle up by the fireplace. But it's sexy, it's inviting, it's good, it's really good. I actually prefer the smell of this to the original Angel Share, which might sound crazy, but something about this is just so addictive. I love this. This is a 9.5 out of 10. And you can get this for $30 US, or if you're in Australia, you can get it for about 60. Absolute steal. It's a robbery, honestly. The performance on this thing as well is just so above average. I get 8 hours longevity, and similar to AFNAN 9pm, it's a strong projector, probably even stronger than AFNAN 9pm. 4 sprays of this stuff, you'll be filling up a room. I love this fragrance, honestly. It's great. I don't know what else to say. Up next is Rasasi Hawas. If you haven't heard of this one by now, you are literally living under a rock, because this was selling. This was everywhere on TikTok a few months ago. It has kind of died down a bit, but it's a dupe of Invictus Aqua 2016, which I've never smelled before, but it smells pretty similar just to the OG Invictus, in my opinion. Sweet, fruity, fresh, bubblegum. But the thing that makes this stand apart is it kind of has that Arabian like twist on it, Middle Eastern type of twist. It's hard to explain, but if you smell it, you'll know what I mean. It is also a beast mode performer. The newer batches though, these newer ones I've got aren't as strong. I have a blue one from a couple years ago, which is beast mode. This one isn't quite there, but I still get 8 hours longevity, maybe 7 with moderate projection. They've come out with a Rasasi Hawas Ice, which doesn't really remind me of anything. It smells pretty similar to the original Hawas, honestly. It's just a little bit more minty, a little bit more aquatic. I actually do prefer this, but it costs like 60 bucks more for some reason. And they smell so similar. So just get the original. It's still a great fragrance, 8.5, 8 out of 10 maybe. I definitely recommend it. I recommend all 3 of the ones I've talked about so far, I'm not gonna lie. Up next, we have AFNAN's Supremacy in Oud. I only got this recently, but this is actually my favorite one that I've talked about so far. It's a dupe of Initio's Oud for Greatness, which I've never smelt, but if it smells anything like this, this is fantastic. I can't imagine it smelling much better than this, because for one, this thing is super strong. It's the strongest fragrance I've talked about. It's a very sweet, edible smelling oud. The oud isn't super strong in this, so if you don't like oud like me, I don't like heavy oud fragrances, this is not that. Reminds me of Arabian's Tonka by Montal and Mancera Instant Crush. It's kind of got that Baccarat Rouge DNA, but made more masculine with the oud. It's beautiful, honestly. Absolutely gorgeous scent. And like I said, the performance is awesome as well. So as you might be thinking, this is great. This is a great going out fragrance. It would be a great compliment getter. Pretty mass appealing for an oud fragrance. And it's cheap. I don't remember the exact price. I want to say maybe 80 Australian dollars and probably like 40 US dollars. Again, it's a steal. The TikTok hype is doing its thing with these ones. Although this one deserves more hype on TikTok. Next, Club de Nuit Intense Man and Mont Blanc Explorer. These 2 were again super hyped a few months ago, kind of dying down a bit now, especially Club de Nuit Intense Man. If you're going to ask me which one I prefer out of these 2, which by the way, they're both dupes of Aventus, if you're not living under a rock, you probably know that. This one is stronger, but the opening is a lot harsher. It's not smooth all the way through. It doesn't smell quite as expensive. This one kind of smells more wealthy, but the performance is a letdown. On my skin, it just does not project. So I'm taking Clubs and We Intense Man every time because I like my fragrances that project heavily, okay? That's just how I am. Increases the chance of getting a compliment. I like people smelling me. They both smell about 90% similar to Creed Aventus. In my opinion, the dry down of this one is more accurate to Creed Aventus, whereas this one kind of has its own take on it. I can't really explain how it smells different. It's a little bit less smoky. It's more woody, a little bit more citrusy. Honestly, they're both fantastic. Around an 8 out of 10 for each. Price-wise, Clubs and Intense Man, 40, 50 Australian dollars. Mont Blanc Explorer, closer to 70. And in the US though, they're both about 30 or 40 bucks. Absolute steals again. Most people, if you're going to blind buy, would prefer Mont Blanc Explorer. It's much safer. You can use it for the office. You can use it for school. Whereas Clubs and We Intense Man is honestly, it's a little bit screechy, but I kind of like it. Very masculine. But it does kind of smell like lemon cleaner in the opening. Just pick either one, honestly. Mont Blanc Explorer, if you're going to blind buy, do that. Clubs and We Intense Man, if you want something loud, strong, masculine, this is the one. This is the one. I've already talked about Lattafa Khamrah, but I'm just going to touch on Kismet Angel. I actually prefer Lattafa Khamrah as its own scent, but this one, if you want the most accurate representation of what Angel's Share smells like, then this is it. This is pretty much spot on, to be honest. To me, like, look, I've used a lot of this stuff. I really liked it when I got it. It's super boozy though. Like, even more boozy than the original Angel Share. I like my boozy fragrances, but not this boozy. This just smells like high quality liquor. This is going to be up a lot of people's alley though. It's just not my cup of tea. Also, the performance isn't quite as good as Lattafa Khamrah in my experience. 6 hours longevity with soft to moderate projection. The price though is good. I think this was 60 Australian dollars and it just looks drinkable. But that doesn't really show anything about fragrance, does it? This is an 8 out of 10 for me. It's addictive. It would be a good compliment getter, just not super mass appealing, and it is going to be too boozy for a lot of people. Before I wrap up this video, I want to talk about a couple of Maison Alhambra fragrances. Up first is Bright Peach. This is a dupe of Tom Ford's Bitter Peach, which I've never smelt before, but this, as a standalone fragrance, is very boozy, just like Kismet Angel. When I first got it, I just expected a candy synthetic peach, and you do get that, but it's very boozy. It's like a very boozy, burnt peach smell. This is also very strong. Like, it can be very overwhelming if you use more than 3 sprays. It doesn't last super long, but it projects extremely heavy for the first couple hours, which is interesting, and it's dirt cheap. So that one I would give a 7 out of 10. Porto Neroli is another Tom Ford dupe of Neroli Portofino, which I have smelt, and this gets 70, 80% close. To me, it kind of just smells like a synthetic soap bar. Like, it doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't really stand out. It's quite sunscreeny. I feel like you could wear this to the beach and you'd fit the vibe. I feel like this is the only time I'd wear it, to the beach. Some people will compare it to dishwashing liquid, and I can kind of see that, to be honest with you. It smells like dishwashing liquid, but made more high quality. It's not for me. 6.5 out of 10 for Porto Neroli. I would go with Bitter Peach for the winter, and then if you wanted a Tom Ford dupe for the summer, this could work better. I did also forget to touch on AFNAN 9 AM Dive, which I got recently. This isn't really a dupe of anything. It kind of reminds me of Bleu de Chanel, but it's a lot worse. It's just a basic citrusy aquatic. It smells like a mix of popular men's fragrances like YSLY, Bleu de Chanel. It doesn't stand out. Performance is average. I don't recommend this one. It's like a 5 out of 10. If you want a good gym scent though, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, that could be a good option. This next one is called Velvet Oud by Lattafa. I got this sent to me. Shout out to the company, I forgot that sent it to me. The bottle looks incredible, so I was super excited. It's a dupe of Tom Ford's Ombre Leather, and it does a fantastic job. I just personally don't like Tom Ford Ombre Leather, so... Oh, that smells good in the air. Very masculine though. Maybe I'm changing my... Oh, there it is. No. The fruitiness opens and then the leather just hits hard. But if you like the smell of realistic leather, don't spend your money on Ombre Leather. Get this instead, because the presentation, the quality is insane, performance is insane, and it's dirt cheap. But you don't get the Tom Ford, but it's still a great fragrance, so just give it a try. That's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on popular TikTok clone fragrances. I hope you learned something. Look, I actually really like all the fragrances I talk about in this video, except Maison Alhambra, Porto Neroli, and Velvet Oud I'm not the biggest fan of, but all the other ones are fantastic. They get hype on TikTok for a reason most of the time. That's one thing I've learned being a TikTok creator and here on YouTube, is that the fragrances that get hyped are usually hyped for a good reason. They're probably fantastic fragrances. Let me know what your favorite dupes are, and if you agree with my opinions in this video, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.